The Yoga Aphorisms of Patanjali, translated by William Quan Judge. Book 1. Concentration. Assuredly, the exposition of yoga, or concentration, is now to be made. Concentration or yoga is the hindering of the modifications of the thinking principle. At the time of concentration, the soul abides in the state of a spectator without a spectacle. At other times than that of concentration, the soul is in the same form as the modification of the mind. The modifications of the mind are of 5 kinds, and they are either painful or not painful. They are correct cognition, misconception, fancy, sleep, and memory. Correct cognition results from perception, inference, and testimony. Misconception is erroneous notion arising from lack of correct cognition. Fancy is a notion devoid of any real basis and following upon knowledge conveyed by words. Sleep is that modification of the mind which ensues upon the quitting of all objects by the mind, by reason of all the waking senses and faculties sinking into abeyance. Memory is the not letting go of an object that one has been aware of. The hindering of the modifications of the mind already referred to is to be effected by means of exercise and dispassion. Exercise is the uninterrupted or repeated effort that the mind shall remain in its unmoved state. This exercise is a firm position observed out of regard for the end in view, and perseveringly adhered to for a long time without intermission. Dispassion is the having overcome one's desires. Dispassion carried to the utmost is indifference regarding all else than soul, and this indifference arises from a knowledge of soul as distinguished from all else. There is a meditation of the kind called that in which there is distinct cognition, and which is of a 4-fold character because of argumentation, deliberation, beatitude, egoism. The meditation just described is preceded by the exercise of thought without argumentation. Another sort of meditation is in the shape of the self-reproduction of thought after the departure of all objects from the field of the mind. The meditative state attained by those whose discrimination does not extend to pure spirit depends upon the phenomenal world. In the practice of those who are, or may be, able to discriminate as to pure spirit, their meditation is preceded by faith, energy, intentness upon a single point, and discernment or thorough discrimination of that which is to be known. The attainment of the state of abstract meditation is speedy in the case of the hotly impetuous. Because of the mild, the medium, and the transcendent nature of the methods adopted, there is a distinction to be made among those who practice yoga. The state of abstract meditation may be attained by profound devotedness towards the Supreme Spirit, considered in its comprehensible manifestation as Ishvara. Ishvara is a spirit untouched by troubles, works, fruits of works, or desires. In Ishvara becomes infinite that omniscience which in man exists but as a germ. Ishvara is the preceptor of all, even of the earliest of created beings, for he is not limited by time. His name is Om. The repetition of this name should be made with reflection upon its significance. From this repetition and reflection on its significance, there come a knowledge of the spirit and the absence of obstacles to the attainment of the end in view. The obstacles in the way of him who desires to attain concentration are sickness, languor, doubt, carelessness, laziness, addiction to objects of sense, erroneous perception, failure to attain any stage of abstraction, and instability in any state when attained. These obstacles are accompanied by grief, distress, trembling, and sighing. For the prevention of these, one truth should be dwelt upon. Through the practicing of benevolence, tenderness, complacency, and disregard for objects of happiness, grief, virtue, and vice, the mind becomes purified. Distractions may be combated by a regulated control or management of the breath in inspiration, retention, and exhalation. A means of procurement of steadiness of the mind may be found in an immediate sensuous cognition, or an immediate cognition of a spiritual subject being produced. This may also serve to the same end. Or the thought taking as its object some one devoid of passion, as, for instance, an ideally pure character, may find what will serve as a means. Or, by dwelling on knowledge that presents itself in a dream, steadiness of mind may be procured. Or it may be effected by pondering upon anything that one approves. The student whose mind is thus steadied obtains a mastery which extends from the atomic to the infinite. The mind that has been so trained that the ordinary modifications of its action are not present, but only those which occur upon the conscious taking up of an object for contemplation, is changed into the likeness of that which is pondered upon, and enters into full comprehension of the being thereof. This change of the mind into the likeness of what is pondered upon is technically called the argumentative condition. When there is any mixing up of the title of the thing, the significance and application of that title, and the abstract knowledge of the qualities and elements of the thing per se. On the disappearance, from the plane of contemplation, of the title and significance of the object selected for meditation, when the abstract thing itself, free from distinction by designation, is presented to the mind only as an entity, that is what is called the non-argumentative condition of meditation. The argumentative and non-argumentative conditions of the mind, described in the preceding two aphorisms, also obtain when the object selected for meditation is subtile, or of a higher nature than sensuous objects. That meditation which has a subtile object in view ends with the indissoluble element called primordial matter. The mental changes described in the foregoing constitute meditation with its seed. When wisdom has been reached through acquirement of the non-deliberative mental state, there is spiritual clearness. In that case, then, there is that knowledge which is absolutely free from error. This kind of knowledge differs from the knowledge due to testimony and inference, because in the pursuit of knowledge based upon those, the mind has to consider many particulars and is not engaged with the general field of knowledge itself. The train of self-reproductive thought resulting from this puts a stop to all other trains of thought. This train of thought itself, with but one object, may also be stopped, in which case meditation without a seed is attained.